You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options. Facebook.com/TheOptionsInsider or via questions at TheOptionsInsider.com.
Join us now for the expert source for inside information on the options markets. It's time for Options Insider Radio with your host, Mark Longo.
Welcome back to Options Insider Radio, the interview program here on the old network where we welcome on guests from throughout the world of options and derivatives and beyond and proceed to pick their brains for the benefit of you, the listener. My name is Mark Longo from theoptionsinsider.com, as well as, of course, from our ever-expanding network. If I sound a little bit different, it's because we're coming at you not from our studio, but no, from the trading show here in Chicago. So just down the street from our studio here, we have another great slew of guests lined up at yet another event here. So a lot of great conference coverage coming at you from the Options Insider Radio Network of late. And our next guest is a newcomer to the network. He is Jeremy Drain, the Chief Commercial Officer at Lukka. Jeremy, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
And Jeremy, as we are wont to do with all of our first-timers here on the show, why don't you go ahead and give our audience a little bit of an overview of your background in the space and what the heck it is you guys do at Lukka.
Sure. First, thanks a lot for having me. So Lukka, we're formerly known as Libra. We just recently changed our name.
I heard you guys did it like the day before Facebook announced their effort in your space, also named Libra. So I told some of your men, I was like, well, you should have kept it for another couple of days. There might have been some good licensing terms coming your way as a result.
Yeah, well, we're excited to have Facebook entering the space. I think they're going to do it's going to significantly expand the addressable market for this type of asset, and we could obviously talk about that. And so really excited to have Facebook involved in crypto.
I derailed you. You were giving us your background and what it is you guys do at Lukka.
So in terms of Lukka, our company, we build basically middle and back office software for firms that transact in crypto. So our customers are people like crypto exchanges, funds and fund administrators, OTC desks, prop firms, accounting firms use our software, miners, protocols themselves use it. So anybody that has a high volume and has to take that transactional data and convert that into a management report, a tax statement, a P&L, that's all of what we do. In terms of myself personally, I work as the Chief Commercial Officer. I've been at Lukka for 3 years full-time, and prior to joining Lukka, I worked for 13 years at PricewaterhouseCoopers.
I won't hold any of that previous experience against you, sir. Yeah. But you're in an interesting space. I ran into some of your guys at the options conference last week, and I've talked to a lot of firms in the, let's say, the accounting, auditing, regulatory side of the space in the past, and most of them seem like they're running screaming from the crypto space right now because they can't make heads or tails of it. Let's say it isn't very regulatory friendly. It isn't GAAP friendly. There's a lot of things that are just kind of scary about it. So what is it that makes you guys want to run toward it as opposed to away from it?
Well, I think at the end of the day, if you have to do this stuff, whether you like it or not. So people need to know, have they made money? They need P&Ls. They need to know how much taxes they have to pay. They need to be able to create regulatory reports that they send to their regulators. So whether or not it's difficult or it's something that people want to do, and it certainly is in many people's mind boring old sort of subjects, the reality is it has to get done. So from our standpoint, it's not a choice, it's a requirement. which means that there's going to be an addressable market for us from a business perspective. We will have customers, or companies that we're targeting will have this need, and it's just a matter of building the very best software and services to fill those needs.
Now, if you're coming up at like a crypto fund or things, and trying to provide them with, let's say, audit services, for example, how there's no real precedent for any of this. So are you guys kind of making it up as you go along? How are you kind of setting the precedents here?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of people trying to solve the problem together. And so, even though, say, the Big Four or, most of the Big Four are not involved, I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of other accounting firms that actually are willing to work in a space where the regulatory environment isn't set in stone already. So we work with all of those types of firms to try to come up with the best answers and have the best practices. We then feed that back to regulators, who then use that to get informed so that they actually can make the rules. I mean, the reality here is that regulators don't want to make rules in a vacuum. They want people to actually go out there and take the risks of doing these things so that can inform them so they can make better decisions. And we don't mind being in that position, I think, of not waiting for the rules to be written, but helping get those rules written is really where I think our company shines.
So the regulators are fans of you guys going out there and kind of being the vanguard for them. They don't. That's something less they have to do, right? We'll let you guys set the pace, and they say, okay, do that, but don't do that sort of thing.
Yeah, they need people that are willing to get out there, out in front, and do the hard learning and provide feedback in a structured way so that they can then take that and they can create the rules. And that is really how all rules from regulators are made in most cases. And I don't think there's anything new. It's just that a lot of the bigger firms are in the space just aren't willing to be out in front. But I will tell you that the tier 2 firms, like if you think of it as you have the Big Four and then you have like the next 15 or 20 firms, those firms are doing incredibly innovative work in the space, and I give them a lot of kudos.
Now, you mentioned, you work with a lot of, obviously, institutions, and it's been an interesting time to work with those firms over the last, let's say, 12 to 18 months or so. We, of course, in the early embrace of crypto in late 2017 and running up to 20,000, everyone was very excited. Maybe throughout most of 2018 when the headlines were overwhelmingly negative over and over again. Maybe some of that lost some of its luster. Now we have the turning back upward again over the last month again. So what's it been like over the last year and change for you guys targeting the institutional crypto space? Have you seen the demand ebb a little bit as a result of kind of the continued downturn? Was the demand still strong for what you guys were doing? And also maybe conversely, has that changed or picked up at all in the last month or so now that we've seen the big crypto space kind of start moving up again?
It's a good question. So I guess what I would say is demand has been pretty steady. We didn't feel the effects of crypto winter just because, again, whether Bitcoin is at 3,000 or 15 or 20, you still have to do taxes and you still want to create a P&L to know if you're making money. So from our standpoint, it is a little bit resistant, but certainly some of the smaller players got taken out, and we felt a little bit of that. But overall, I would say that demand has been very, very steady. I would say that in the last 30 days, demand has definitely turned up a little bit. You have a lot of people that have capital that are sitting on the sidelines that are now looking to get into the space. So I think a lot of new players are coming in, which means new opportunities for us. So yeah, I mean, as Bitcoin goes up, I imagine so will our business.
Yeah, that's a nice thing about having the assets you're working with trend upward, right? Is that it eventually, a rising tide lifts all boats, as they say.
Yes,
right?
I would say.
It seems like that's the case in your space. But it's interesting, you mentioned kind of the tier 2 firms and kind of the accounting, auditing side in general. Is this an area where you guys are, there's so much business to be done here that you guys don't mind, A, being the vanguard, but B, also having other firms follow suit because it's kind of maybe a robust ecosystem kind of helps everybody at this point. You don't want to be the only firm out there kind of doing, or maybe you do. Maybe you want to be the only players in this side of the crypto space.
No, I mean, look, I mean, there's some really great competitors out there that we can compete against, and actually having competition is good for you. You know, it drives, you know, your desire to build software faster and make a higher quality product. We're certainly not the only player in town. We certainly believe we are the best, and having a bunch of competitors serves to sharpen your marketing and make your product, your value propositions resonate more with your potential customers. So, but I guess on the other side of that, the addressable market for this stuff is huge. So we would expect that there would be competitors. And really, as you're going out and raising money as a startup, being the only player in a space is actually a negative. You know, VCs and all those guys like to see a bunch of competitors. They like to see the differentiation between them.
Established space.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be, a bunch, and you get then that allows you to differentiate, and it allows you to talk about why your value proposition is stronger, and those are all positives for us.
Are you guys in the VC money raising state right now? You out there raising money?
No, not at this point. I mean, we generate revenue. We've raised $25 million to date. So we're really comfortable where we're at. A lot of money in the bank. Generate revenues through the sale of our product. We're SaaS, monthly product, and so we're doing well. And we're not currently not raising any capital.
Now you mentioned kind of the product itself. Obviously, we talked a lot about the regulatory audit side, but the product is a software product. Give us kind of an overview of some of the bells and whistles. What a new crypto firm coming to you who wants to utilize that, what they can expect from it.
Yeah, sure. So the way that you could think about it is after you've done your transactions, someone needs to go out there and they need to collect all that transactional data. And so our value proposition is connectivity as a service. You want to plug into the ecosystem, and there's really two ways to do that. You can go out there and build all of your own APIs and build that infrastructure yourself, or you can ride on somebody's rails that's already been created. So we like to think of it as we have a world-class highway infrastructure, and wouldn't it be better to drive on our highways rather than try to build your own roads? So that first thing that we build that first value prop is connectivity. Then once you bring in all that data from, let's just say you're a fund and you're trading on 20 different venues. Well, when you bring in all that data is going to be all different. So like if you're trading Stellar, for example, Stellar has 4 tickers. Well, you're not going to put Stellar 4 times on your balance sheet. You're going to want to put it 1 time. So you have to normalize all that transactional data. And so we normalize and standardize all that transactional data as our second core value prop. Then when you have that normalized data set, then you ask the question, is it accurate and complete? Did I get all my data? And so then we have a whole set of reconciliation tools that automate your ability to prove that you have an accurate and complete data set. Once you have an accurate, complete data set, now you can actually process your transactional data to produce a P&L, to produce a tax report, to produce a regulatory report, to produce a management financial statement of some sort. And then from there, take that information and plow it into, either send it to an investor, send it as a journal entry into your GL, send it to a BW to do analytics. So it is all of that connectivity, data standardization, reconciliation, processing, and then output is the basis of what our software does.
And what is it that, obviously talking to me is fun, but what is it that brings you here to Chicago, just to kind of show the flag, to do the outreach, kind of get the word out about the new branding? Lukka, are you guys exhibiting here? What are you guys doing here?
Yeah, I mean, this is the second year that we've been at the trading show. They've treated us really well. I mean, we got the opportunity to be here on this podcast, and so we have a good relationship with the folks that run this event. We also obviously are getting the name out. Libra had a really strong brand in the space, and so want to push that out. We are here exhibiting, we're doing demos, we've got a bunch of customers in Chicago, a bunch of potential customers here, so wanted to, there's nothing like shaking hands and looking people in the eye. So we're here to do a little bit of that. So, yeah, we did it last year, and we'll be back next year.
What prompted the name switch? Was it just you changed the product enough that you wanted to have a new name for it? Or what?
Yeah, I mean, right now, when Libra was first brought to the market, we were really known as Libra Tax. So Libra Tax was the first crypto tax calculator for individuals that were trying to pay their taxes on their crypto holdings. In fact, a funny little story is our CEO, and this is like 5 years ago, Googled, how do I pay my taxes in Bitcoin? And we always joke, we're like, you're still the only person that has Googled that. But so we were called Lukka, or we were called Libra, but everybody knew us as Libra Tax. And then we brought out our flagship product, Crypto Office, and the Libra Tax sort of got deprecated, and then it was Libra. And now what we've done is we've brought out a bunch of data services. We have a pricing data service. We have a reference data service. And so it is the expansion of the product and expansion of the company from just a SaaS platform to also providing data products that surround that SaaS platform. We just looked at it that as this is a good time for us to transition and put in place, a new name, a new brand.
Well, we like to leave our audience with a little bit of a hint, a little bit of a tease, something fun to look forward to here.
Sure.
As we wrap up. So if you have anything up your sleeve, you're not wearing any sleeves, but if you had anything up your sleeves there, maybe you want to give them a little bit of a tease of what they can expect from you guys in the coming months. Now is the time, sir. The floor is yours.
Well, what I would say is maybe not so much around Lukka specifically, but I do think that what's going to be very, very exciting over the next 6 to 12 months that I think will be game-changing for the space are going to be corporate coins, such as what Facebook is doing. Facebook is, based on, what's in the public domain, looking at putting out a coin and, allowing their consumers that transact with that coin on the Facebook platform. But, it's not really hard to take that and think forward a little bit in terms of, hey, wouldn't it be great to pay my Verizon bill with my Facebook coin or my AT&T bill or whatever have you? And I do think that type of use case, that corporate coin use case, is really going to drive a lot more adoption of of a digital asset. And I think it's going to really push itself into the retail community in a way that, heretofore hasn't existed. And I think that you're going to see a lot of that stuff happen over the next 6 to 12 months. And I think that that's going to really change the industry from being, a lot of traders trading it back and forth with each other to a lot of corporations and enterprises getting involved that haven't been involved. And I think that's going to expand the addressable market for all of our businesses because we're just going to have a lot more people that are interested.
Certainly, hopefully you have all that stuff you laid out there. Hopefully we see all that come to pass. I appreciate you giving us an overview here of Lukka, and we'll look forward to seeing all these developments, how they unfold in the marketplace in the coming months.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
The preceding program was a production of the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, facebook.com/The Options Insider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.